I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm the same guy I was my rookie year, just gotten a little bit better and winning some games now and on a great team. But I think the biggest thing I can say is probably just the way that I play the game and shooting the ball. Everybody can pick up a ball and everybody can shoot.
Yeah, they can't drain it like you, though.
I mean, you can have that pipe dream, that vision, that goal, but not everybody can rise up and tomahawk dunk. But the skill of being able to dribble and shoot, that's something that everybody that plays basketball can try to do. Like everybody wants to be able to shoot the ball and go out and shoot 30-footers and all that, but you got to work on your game to get there.
Always having fun. Interesting conversation. That was Steph Curry on GMA this morning with Jesse Palmer explaining to people that people can relate to him. And Skip, do you agree that he's the most relatable athlete in sports right now?
And we didn't hear the question. That was Jesse Palmer's question to Steph.
Yep.
Are you or why are you the most relatable athlete in the NBA? I'm going to make the case he's the most relatable athlete in sports. And one of the most relatable of all time, and he's becoming, if I can, we always do pound for pound in boxing, Stephen A. Isn't it fair to say, if we do inch for inch, that Steph's becoming the greatest inch for inch basketball player ever, right? Does that ring true to you? He's on the way.
It could be.
Okay.
He's on the way.
So I know Ernestine's gotten way too many mentions already in this show, but I got to throw one last one out because we watch Steph, we watch a lot of basketball together, and she always asks me, now, how tall is Steph? And I say, he's 6'3". And she says, no, he's not. He's like 5'11".
He looks shorter, he does.
I know, but he's willowy. He's not ripped in his upper body, He doesn't look like and he looks so baby-faced. Yeah. But he doesn't look like not that he doesn't hit the weight room, but he doesn't look like a weight room product. He doesn't look like LeBron James. He doesn't look like a superhero, like a lot of the NFL players look like a superhero. Obviously, a lot of the NBA players do. I'm the biggest Michael Jordan fan, but I couldn't relate to him. But just in shooting the basketball, at least I tried to shoot a basketball. I know what it feels like to make a three-point shot. We all do. Everybody tried that at some point. Maybe we weren't very good at it. Maybe we were pretty good at it. But this guy is doing little person stuff at the highest level. And Stephen A., you and I debated back in 05, 06. Steve Nash won back-to-back MVPs. I didn't think he should have won the second one. I thought Shaq should have won. There's what a discrepancy, what a contrast, little Steve Nash to Shaquille O'Neal. Steve Nash was also 6 feet 3 inches tall, which by most people's standards is really tall. Steve Kerr, who I covered with Jordan in Chicago, 6'3", but they look like little people, and yet Steve Nash won MVP because he was leading the league in assists. In those 2 seasons, he averaged 15.5 points the first time he won MVP and 18.8 the second time. 15 and 18. Steph Curry is leading the league at 30 points a game. To me, if he weren't on such a great team, if he wanted to score 40 points a game, Steph Curry is capable of averaging 40, 45 points a game. He's doing things as a little guy, quote unquote, we've never seen done before. He is dominating games with skill more than supreme athleticism or leaping ability. We saw him dunk a couple times in the All-Star game, but he has to try. He has to effort. He has to give it his all to get the ball over the rim on a dunk. I don't think Steve Nash ever dunked. I tried to look on the internet this morning, couldn't find anything on YouTube. So again, he was probably incapable. He made jokes about, well, I can sort of get the ball up to the rim, but whatever.
He sets up dunks now.
Yeah, well, did he? He could set him up with the soccer kick, although it took 8 tries. But
yeah, and
that's a whole other issue. But Stephen A., this is such a crossover star because everybody can relate to what Steph is doing, which is why he's on his way to becoming one of the biggest stars we've ever seen. Michael was relatable because he did comic book sort of movies. He did fantasy movies. What do you call them? I don't know what you call them. They weren't Disney, but they were Space Jams. So that made him more accessible to kids. Kids love Michael Jordan because he did the movies. But in this case, I think kids love Steph because they watch him and they say, oh, I get it. I can dribble. I can do that too. And so Steph's not doing things that look superhuman. He's doing normal things in a superhuman fashion. He's making shots. He made one in the All-Star game. It was 40 feet that he made the shot. So, again, I'm in awe of a little guy doing huge things.
I agree with your conclusion. I don't agree with how you got there. Steph Curry and his game is spectacular. The fact that it's a jump shot, people can relate to that. That is true. But I think that the biggest reason people can relate to him is because America as a whole has embraced him. And they've embraced him in a way that says you can come into our living room. You can be around our kids. We appreciate and adore you. We love the fact that you're the baby-faced assassin. You know, we love seeing your little beautiful girl, your beautiful wife. We see all of that, and they embrace it. When you think about Michael Jordan, I don't think that Michael Jordan and normalcy or relatability are in the same context. Michael Jordan was 6'6". Michael Jordan had an aerial assault that is unrivaled. I don't think people related to Michael Jordan. They revered him.
Yep.
He was an iconic figure. They salivated over the thought of seeing him. He was that big time. They marveled at Michael Jordan. They didn't relate to him. They marveled at him. You know, similar to how they marveled at Magic Johnson being 6'9" and doing the things with a basketball that he could do. Okay? You look at it, and Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was 6'1".
Yep.
So that made him incredibly relatable. But with the tats and the cornrows and all of that stuff, it made him very relatable to a particular community, while others on the outside looked in and said, okay, let us know more about you and what you all represent. Steph Curry doesn't have any of that.
No.
He's a brother that is very, very relatable to folks outside the black community just as much as he's relatable to folks inside the black community. He has a jump shot that's not predicated on extreme athleticism, even though he's very athletic and very gifted, and his marksmanship is unrivaled. The fact is you could go out in the park and shoot jumpers, and all of a sudden you're Steph Curry. You could go out and be 6'1" and get to the rim with reckless abandon, and you could be Allen Iverson. You couldn't be Michael Jordan on your best day. You couldn't be Magic Johnson on your best day. That's just the way that it was. And so when you look at Steph Curry, and then you look at the fact that he's unassuming, he's non-confrontational, he's somebody that's being embraced by everybody because unlike Allen Iverson, he's safe. On top of all of those things, he is safe. You don't expect him to say anything too controversial. You don't expect him to get in any kind of trouble. You don't expect him to do anything that's relatively controversial. He doesn't look angry. He doesn't come across as cantankerous or anything like that. So he's in a league of his own because, and listen, you take all of it into consideration. You just look at the whole package. It's different than Allen Iverson. It's definitely different than Magic. Definitely different than Michael Jordan. All of those things come into the equation. Steph Curry, the way he looks, the way he conducts himself, what he stands for, what he's about, how unassuming and non-confrontational he is, along with his pedigree, being Del Curry's son, all of that stuff makes him safe. That's the word that comes to my mind more than anything else, which elevates his level of relatability.
All I know is he's great for the NBA.
He certainly is. He's a great role model.
Sports.
Yeah,
he's great for sports.
He
He's a fantastic person, too.
Yep. I have 3 little nephews and a godson. They all love Steph.
Really?
He's their favorite. And they also all love Jordan, but obviously just because of the brand. They never saw him play, and I find that fascinating, too, that that's still lasted all these years. Up